What's up guys? Welcome to the Calisthenics YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Eventually, I'm trying to turn this into what I do full time. I want to make this a career and you can be a part of making that happen, so I'd appreciate the love and the support. Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can build muscle as well as size while just doing calisthenics. I'm really excited to do this video because this is actually kind of how I built my brand name. The Calisthenics actually is derived from using the word aesthetic as well as calisthenics to make the word aesthetics. And essentially what it means is doing calisthenics, just bodyweight exercises, in order to get an aesthetic physique. And so that's kind of why I created that brand name, in order to have that meaning and help people reach those goals. So I'm really excited to share the things that I've done in the past in order to get where I am. Over the last couple of years, I've been able to put on over 15 pounds of lean muscle mass through just doing bodyweight exercises. I've also helped a ton of guys do the exact same thing. If you've seen the video where I talked about my best friend's 1-year calisthenics transformation, he gained over 20 pounds of muscle in just 1 year, literally just using a pull-up bar up in his room. So it's totally possible, but I want to be able to give you the knowledge and the tools and the resources that you need in order to make it happen for you. But before we get into the 4 tips that I'm going to give you guys to build muscle as well as size while just doing calisthenics, I have to preface this with nutrition is going to be 70 to 80% of your results. So if you're not doing the right things in the kitchen, not eating the right foods, then this is probably not even going to make a difference if you add all of this into your workout routines. So making sure that you have a high protein diet as well as you're in a caloric surplus, so you're eating more calories than you're burning in order to gain size and muscle, is going to be crucial for these tips to work for you. The first tip I'm going to talk about relates to the style of calisthenics that you do. This is very important because there's a few styles of calisthenics and not all of them are optimal for building muscle. The first one is going to be freestyle calisthenics. So you're going to see this a lot where people are doing like acrobatic things on the gymnastics bar. They're doing 360 pull-ups, 360 muscle-ups, a bunch of crazy stuff that is really impressive, but not super optimal in order for building muscle, right? They may be really strong, but they're not going to be super jacked or maybe have the most aesthetic physiques. The second type of calisthenic style of training or athlete is going to be static calisthenics. Now these are the people who train planche, front lever, human flag, and only those things, right? So they're really strong, their CTR strength is through the roof, but they're not necessarily the most aesthetic or muscular people. And if that's not your goal, then that's not how you want to be training. And the last style of training is going to be military calisthenics. So where you're doing simply just push-ups, just pull-ups. But the aesthetics brand that I've created is designed to use military style calisthenics as well as some of the static and freestyle calisthenics in order to combine it all. That way you can build the most amount of muscle in the most effective way possible. But what you're going to want to really focus on when you're doing calisthenics is making sure that you are training sets and reps. If you're just doing things like planche leans or 360 pull-ups, most likely you're not going to build a ton of size or a ton of muscle. So sticking to pull-ups and push-ups and the basics is going to be very important in order for you to gain muscle. The second thing you're going to want to do if you want to build muscle as well as size while just doing calisthenics is going to be training with intensity as well as training until failure. This is something that isn't easily quantified, but it's going to be extremely important in regards to seeing massive returns on your workouts. And so what I mean by intensity and training till failure is not just training just to train, right? So, okay, I got 8 to 10 reps today, so I'm just gonna do those 8 to 10 reps and then I'm gonna call it good, right? Pushing your body to the limit, and then at the second to last or the last reps or the last sets, it's gonna be important that you're training until failure. So if you feel like you can't get another pull-up, right? Going for that second pull-up, even if you fail, is going to be the difference in seeing a lot of gains as well as setting you apart from people who are training and not training until failure. So doing those 2 things is going to be super crucial in order to see more size as well as muscle gain when you're training with just calisthenics. The third thing I'm going to talk about is making sure that you're training in the correct rep ranges. I see a lot of people out there doing things like 30 body weight squats. It's important that you increase or decrease the difficulty based on the amount of reps that you're doing. So if you're doing body weight squats and you're doing 30 reps, then maybe increase the difficulty by adding weight or by doing a different variation that's harder. That way you can get into about 8 to 12 reps, which is going to be optimal for muscle gain. A lot of my exercises, I try and do anywhere from 6 to 15 reps to make sure that I'm building muscle and not simply building strength or muscular endurance. If I'm doing 3 to 5 reps, that's going to be good for something like a one-arm pull-up where I'm training for a quick burst of energy where I need a lot of strength in a small period of time. So training every single exercise in the rep range of 8 to 12 is gonna be optimal if you're wanting to build muscle as well as size. The last thing I'm gonna talk about that's super important if you wanna build muscle as well as size while just doing calisthenics is progressive overload. And this is applicable in pretty much anything in life. If you wanna get better, you need to consistently push yourself and make it harder. So if you're doing 10 pull-ups and eventually you're doing 12 and 15, and maybe it gets too easy and you wanna stay within the 8 to 12 rep range to build muscle, then maybe add weight, right? Make the exercise more difficult in some capacity, increase the overload. That way you're able to increase the amount of gains and the amount of muscle you're building. If you continue to let yourself get beyond those rep ranges and it becomes easier, you're not gonna actually see as much gains and you're gonna most likely hit a plateau in your training. So using things like weighted vests, parallettes, gymnastic rings are gonna be all awesome resources that you can use if you want to increase the difficulty of a lot of simple movements like push-ups, pull-ups, muscle-ups, different things like that. And I'm actually gonna have those products linked down below. So if you're interested in buying those, go ahead and click those links and that'll be linked to Amazon, so you can just pick those up real quick and start integrating those into your workouts and using those for different exercises in order to get more gains. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're also interested in one-on-one coaching, I do offer custom workout plans to help you reach your fitness goals. I love you guys. Comment down below with any future video ideas you have for me. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.